really fog enough this morning. Maybe my glasses are cold or something. The breath is hot.
Are you ready? It's 9 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting to order. And if everyone would please stand for the allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call officers. Commissioner Stone, Commissioner Price, President, and I present. All commissioners are present. We have no one from the public that I can see. So we'll go down to review of the bills.
I move we, after we review them, we pay those that are properly presented and approved.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second for paying the bills is once they've been properly presented and approved.
Yes.
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 Yes. And yes. And here's, we have nothing from the assessor's office today. Gives us a couple more minutes. Motion to approve the minutes for the 24th and December 1st.
I make a motion to approve the minutes, November 24th, 2020, and December 1st, 2020.
Second.
Motion on the floor to approve the minutes for November 24th and December 1st, 2020. Commissioner Stone.
Yes.
Commissioner Price.
Yes.
Yes.
We have the proceedings in vacation December 31st and January 6th, and we approve those.
Second that motion.
A motion on the floor to approve the proceedings vacation for the December 31st through January 6th. Commissioner Price.
Yes.
Commissioner Stone.
Yes.
Yes. No state settlements, no report from fiduciary commissioner, and no old business. So that brings us down to our 903. And instead of going Hamilton, I see Justin in front of us.
Morning, how you all this morning?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Just got a budget revision for this morning. It'll be taking some of the money out of our, it's all out of our telephone line items, but out of subset 01 and 02, moving it to 03 and 05, just washing the tracking of the bills, going ahead and moving that so that way we won't run into anything down the road. But other than that, it's still staying in the main telephone line.
We may have others.
I don't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one more that you've given?
That's not budget revision.
No, it's not
Okay,
covered, but
all
that's just a, I thought it was first too. So yeah, I wanted it because it's a similar format. But we have no other budget revision. Motion to approve this.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second to approve the budget revision for the OEM 911. Commissioner Price.
Yes.
Commissioner Stone.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Jason.
You want the original or you want the, you want the original?
I think she needs the original.
You good? Thank you.
Thank you.
Since he's still here, commissioners, we have a few minutes. Just if you could, Justin, we've been working on that inventory for PPE. So we basically now have it on a spreadsheet, and you can just go ahead and talk about our surplus and how we're doing with that.
Sure. Yeah, so we've got a good spreadsheet for our inventory. We can track, we've got minimums, so if we get below our reserve, it tracks all that. We do it for our county inventory and also the state inventory both, but we have that in place. We ordered some additional PPE where we've seen deemed necessary as our burn rates. EMS is going through a pretty decent amount now, coveralls and the capper lens filter or lens covers.
Okay.
And also we've actually was able to purchase some more cappers, which I think they may be the best purchase that we bought through this whole thing, I would think. So, yeah, which is good. I mean, they're a little pricey, but they work extremely well. And really, once you get the main unit paid for, the lens cuffs aren't too much more expensive than what a regular N95 would be. And sometimes you can get that when you couldn't get the N95s. So it's been a really good piece of equipment to have. So I think we'll be up to a total of 8 when we get the next purchase of those in.
That's neat, very good.
That's EMS using those.
Yeah, correct, yeah.
In case somebody doesn't know, when we're talking about PPE inventory, what we've done is, for those who are not familiar, we've spent CARES money and you've also gotten stuff from the state that they've spread around the state, and Dwayne and Justin have and their people have a really good inventory system. And we have these things in case something dies and really gets bad all of a sudden or something, we already have them in stock. Got a container to keep them in, and when I was over there, it was pretty impressive the way you have that set up with the inventory down both sides and dry and good. And I think it's just been they need a pat on the back, I think, for the way they've handled that.
It's been something nobody's had to deal with, so it's been a, chase your tail type of thing sometimes, but, it's everywhere. Nobody's dealt with it before, so.
Just knowing where to get the supplies.
Yeah.
I remember part of a conversation where you couldn't find gloves and,
Right.
with the farming background, you guys were looking at veterinary
Yeah.
supply places for gloves and.
Yeah, we've got some really, went to some really off the wall places to find things, and, it's where you found them, though.
When everybody's looking for the same thing, things get scarce and it can be concerning, so it's very important.
Yeah, you did an excellent, you guys did an excellent job of, really adapting quickly on the run.
Yeah, that's just been fantastic over there.
This surplus also, remember, is also over there are the things that the health department.
Right.
They have now that decon chamber or whatever. It's not the stuff you get. Is it decon? Is that right?
You can know what it is. It's a Zumro shelter, but yeah,
Zumro.
they may know. Zumro's the company.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's inflatable. You just hook it up to electric. It's got a fan and it just blows itself.
Oh, yes,
Standard
I
setup.
know, yes, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
they make some field hospital type setups, and then they make decon shelters,
Yeah.
and it's pretty impressive. They have some nice equipment.
The county surplus actually is coming from the $100,000 that was first allocated. We still have some funding left after discussion with everyone. We're holding on some money just as we progress. Fortunately or unfortunately, we came at the end of most of the things that we were using and everything were at the end. Now, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Things got more available because in the beginning, it was hard to find everything. And so as it cycled through, we were able to get some, the cappers were one thing. That thank you to the state that they allowed us to extend that December 30. We would have never been able to get
Right.
those if it had been December 30. So
How are the ventilators?
ventilators are in, they're at the hospital. There's some training that needs to go along with those. We decided that that's where we wanted to store them because there are some special conditions on those. There's certificates, there's other kind of things. So as far as I know, I don't know that the training's been done yet, has it, Justin? He can speak to that.
Yeah, we teamed up with the Preston Memorial Hospital. I think they're going to get either some of their physician staffing or their respiratory therapy staffing to help train on that. They're pretty nice. They've actually got a few extra features in them. I mean, I've used the older ones, several years ago. They were pretty simple, but you've got a few additional features in these. So they'll actually dual purpose. So they can, even when this is over with, they'll function as CPAPs as well on EMS units. So if, right now they have to carry a separate CPAP machine, which we do use in the field. So it'll double as that. So even after this is over, they'll still be, good and useful pieces of equipment that can be utilized.
Just another example of, and then I'll let it go. We have a 911 OEM director and assistant director who are paramedics and have been firefighters. how much better could it be when it comes to something like this, to understand what it takes to get the job done and say, well, if this won't work, I know that this will work because I've used it before in the field. That's, you can't put a value on that. I just think it's great that, I just point that out to people, how blessed we are in that way. So that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Tell you what, we'll skip BJ.
Yeah, BJ is not gonna be here this morning.
When you do your update. And that'll bring us down to Sheriff Pritt with the employee hire. Morning.
Morning, and welcome to the new world.
You want to take that one?
Oh,
Or you need one for yourself, right? Okay, well, the fourth copy will give to you.
So on to do.
Thank you.
You
Mm.
don't need to stick around till I'm-
We're requesting your advice and consent to employ Michael Marley as a deputy sheriff.
Okay.
His starting salary would be, our basic starting salary is $32,000 a year.
Good. You need a motion on that? Is that the only request you have with this?
For this,
What's
yes.
the effective date?
January 12th,
Jan-
2021.
That would be, yes, today.
Is he certified, Mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
He's currently employed in Terrell, he's worked in, I believe, Romney,
Kaiser.
Kaiser.
Yeah.
Kaiser.
Okay.
I think he's been a police officer for about 4 years,
Okay.
roughly.
All right,
He lives in Terrell, he wants to get back here.
makes sense.
I make a motion that we consent to employ Michael Charles Marley as a probationary deputy sheriff for the Preston County Sheriff's Office with a starting date of today, January 12th, 2021, with a starting salary of $32,000.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor, second to consent to hire Mr. Marley as a deputy sheriff. Commissioner Stuckey,
Yes.
Commissioner Price.
Yes.
Just a note, Commissioners, this is filling a vacancy that we have in the Sheriff's Department.
All right, good.
Glad to have him on board. Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Is that you have another vacancy outside of that one,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's one of two.
Okay,
I thought.
And they've given a civil service test recently in November,
okay,
and Mike was the number one in school.
okay.
Great.
Great, awesome. Very good. Thank you.
What else is new since this is your first visit to,
Congratulations, official.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Just trying to take hold, I guess, for want of a better phrase.
well,
We can take care of a matter since the sheriff is here.
Okay.
That's under my report.
I was gonna ask if we could do that.
Yes, sir. You can see that you have a memorandum, and this is a mutual request from our office and the sheriff that we would like to temporarily reclassify Dory Braniff's job description to include some custodial work. We're still short-staffed there. She does have experience, is willing to help us out. As you can see that she will be doing these duties. It's temporary due to COVID. And her rate of pay is $14.05 per hour, and her overtime rate is $21.05. Now, our request is that they have had a vacancy for some time in the tax office. By reclassifying her, we can continue to pay from their budget for her job being reclassified. However, they do anticipate a hire there. They are short on overtime. So basically, this job is not to exceed 12 hours. It is, as soon as we can get back to full staff, we may need to use her on occasion, but it's not to exceed 12 hours. And we would like to request that any of the funds that go, whether it's a regular salary or an overtime rate that she's required to use, that be reimbursed by the county commission back to the tax office budget. So that's our request today. This would be effective immediately. Our plan is to work her 3 days a week. She will only, the 12 hours was just a guesstimation
Right.
on our part. So what I'm going to ask her to do is clock out. Her day will continue, but she will clock out and then she'll clock in on another time card that I'm giving her, so that there is a clear picture of what is tax deputy duties
Right.
and what is custodial duties. So we'd ask your consent to reclassify her. Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question, is the funds that we're going to need here to cover the cost here with this, is that something that we can pull out of our CARES money? Because this is because of COVID, our
That's a good
our
question.
shortfall, is that something those funds can come from?
Yeah,
our
that's a very
100,000?
good question.
I think there's two things to consider here. The length of time that this is going to occur and the amount of money that is going to be required. We're not anticipating this being a long-term temporary. I think you can consider that. I think that the first thing, we certainly have CARES money that we have been reimbursed for. How that is to be used is
I'm
still
not
a way
talking
out.
about that.
The $100,000, yes, we do have some of that left. However, I think we can cover this based on what we know so far about how much longer our staff's gonna be out. I think that's, yes, the answer is yes, but I think that we just hold until we see actually how much we
No,
have
that's
to
very good.
reimburse.
You brought up about, she brought up about that, because that is something to look at.
Certainly, in my opinion, qualifies, and I certainly will check on that.
When they extended that, Kathy,
Yes,
how long did they march, or did they put a date on it, or that 100,000?
I believe it was for a year, but don't, I just took a breath when I knew it went into 21, to really be honest with you. And I think that it was 1 year. I think it is till next December, but I would want to check on that. And basically, this is one of the reasons that we're reserving some of that money. We're not through this. We're not
Oh, no.
through this, and Preston County is in the midst of it big time. So we want to make sure, when we were talking about PPE earlier, we're burning through a lot of that, especially in your EMS. So we don't want to expend all the funds. We were at a huge advantage when we first started buying PPE, because we would have been lost if we hadn't had it. So also there may be some additional needs from the health department that we need to consider. The CARES reimbursement, which is separate and apart from the 100,000 that we've been acquiring, that ended. So I got the last request in. We have gotten an award notification for the request I made on December 15th. So we only have one more outstanding. It was about 52,000. It was for, the 15th through the 30th. I did send out an email, requesting today what they felt like the chances are on that. I haven't gotten a response yet. So,
They haven't been very clear on what we can use it for either, so.
exactly. So that money is just in reserve. We're starting your budget. So getting your revenues and everything together. So I would anticipate that we might have to use some of those funds to operate. But I don't know that yet. We're just in the midst of finding things out.
I don't know how we could ever pay it back if we,
That's why we're gonna get direction.
yeah.
So we'd like to, your consent to reclassify Dory Range.
So moved.
I will second that.
All right, I have a motion on the floor in a second for approval to read for this request for job reclassification for Ms. Grant. Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Commissioner Stone?
Yes.
Yes.
As a
Also-
side note, I don't think you'd find anybody that's a harder worker. Holy moly, see something.
Well, also, while the sheriff's here, we had a brief discussion, if you remember, we had a request concerning the, putting the safe sign, safe exchange on the courthouse
Oh,
lawn.
yes,
And the sheriff
yes.
had a brief discussion. We also want to bring in the fold, the new prosecutor, just to make sure that we're all on the same page and we are speaking with one voice about what we're going to do there. So hopefully, we'll get with him soon and hammer that out. Correct, Sheriff?
Correct. So I need to provide another copy of that, the previous one.
No, we were-
She got a copy.
What?
Yeah.
So we good?
You're
Good.
good.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks, buddy.
All right, brings us down to new business. And what we have is an application for altering vehicle use on Preston County roads. And it's for parks, Preston County Parks and Recreation event for June 5th and 6th of this year. I'll have a chance to look at this yet. Oh,
That has been signed off by our parties. Those are always signed off by the sheriff's office and
I did see
Okay,
that.
I was gonna say, you gotta eat, well, got to put in the drive.
the sheriff's office and also 911. So it's just, you're the last signature. We always want to make sure that they're aware and have signed off on that.
And this is, actually, it looks more like, it doesn't say really say an ATV, it says dirt, it says bike race.
Sir, they may be crossing onto,
Right.
depending on what kind of bikes they're
Okay.
talking about, they may be crossing onto a secondary road and they're requesting it, whether it's,
Yeah,
whether it's necessary or not. It's always nice to have that
No,
heads up.
I just wanted to clarify, make sure I understood what they were, it's a bike race, not an ATV.
I'm not,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and sometimes they follow along with the
With the-
ATV, with water,
With-
with first aid,
So that makes sense. Okay.
different things like that. So I make a motion to approve the application and authorize the president to sign for the altering vehicle use on Preston County roads by Preston County Parks and Recreation at an event June 5th through 6th, 2021.
Second. Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second to approve this application for altering vehicle use on Preston County roads by the Parks and Rec for their event in June. Commissioner Stone.
Yes.
Commissioner Preston.
Yes.
Yes. Brings us down to our administrator report. Kathy.
okay. We'll back up to COVID just for a moment. As far as your facilities, the annex is back open to walk-in traffic. We've taken care of our immediate custodial need. Also, BJ couldn't be with us this morning because of another engagement. There's been a lot of discussion about regional sites for this week on vaccinations of 80 plus. Basically, the governor is to announce this afternoon, or at his, I believe it's at noontime, his conference, his daily conference, exactly how that's going to work. So we'll have more information for you coming on this afternoon. We certainly have lots of interest from that age group wanting to be vaccinated. I believe they did 135 or something like that last week. And I know that when we started accepting messages from the health department for those folks, I believe there were 200 plus that had expressed interest in doing that. So he's working with them on that, and he apologized that he couldn't give you any more information, but until the governor makes it clear how this is going to operate. It basically is 12 regions is our understanding, and he will put those groups together, and then folks will have to go to that region. This is for this week. Not sure if it will go on futuristically or they'll bring those back more local. You do have employees who have gotten vaccinated through the system that we created, sending information into the state. We follow up with that just to make sure that the emails are going out to the other parts of our system. Your 50 and over have been notified. Any questions on that? We did get, thanks to our county surplus, we did get some new thermometers. We've been using the same thermometers since March, and they got a lot of use. So thanks to the stockpile, we were able to replace some of those. So provide one at the courthouse, and of course, we're requesting that everybody in individual offices do that as well. Any questions? Okay, I mentioned that the sheriff and I had spoke briefly about your exchange zone. Also, Keystone has given us one quote for the part of the building that they came and did an assessment on. I have reached out to him. I want to meet with the prosecuting attorney about this, just to make sure that he's aware of what this contract looks like. I also am going to be meeting with him on the dilapidated building ordinance, the mass gathering ordinance. I'm just providing that office with the things that we have on our plate that we haven't gotten successfully through. We wanted to amend our mass gathering ordinance to take in some areas that were kind of gray or not addressed at all. The cleanup committee is very anxious to get a dilapidated building ordinance that they can present to you for their consideration. So to kind of kill bird with whatever it is, 2 stones or whatever it is. Well, anyway,
One stone.
one stone, 2 birds. I want to get with the prosecutor, let him look at it, and that kind of speeds up your process, that once he has given or the nod, then you already know that that's been reviewed, and perhaps we can move quicker through the process. It is a process, they're never easy, they're always kind of not as quick as we want to have them. So also, I want to discuss with the prosecuting attorney's office some kind of contractual agreement regarding your veterans memorial. I know that the veterans are anxious to give you that particular piece of memorial. So I just want to make it sure everything is covered and they're comfortable and you all are comfortable about how you want to do that. I think it's important that a site be, as you prepare, that a site be designated so that everybody knows and agrees, this is where it's going to be, this is how it's going to be cared for, what everybody's responsibilities are. If there's anything else that is on your plate that you want me to discuss with them and set up with them, I'll be happy to do that. But I just think it's really important that they see what we have. We are going to be having a meeting with all parties as far as the animal shelter goes, with law enforcement, with the prosecution side, and with our staff to go over with our policies, just to make sure that everybody's on board. These seem to fit, that they agree that we're doing everything lawfully and legally like we should. We don't anticipate any changes, but we always want to make sure everybody's on the same page as that as well. So it's going to be a busy month, and it's sometimes challenging because to get people together, and with our staffing shortages, we just have to sometimes meet on very quick notice. So.
You're gonna meet in person,
Yes,
around
sir.
the table, everybody's
Yes, sir.
looking at everybody, I like that.
Unless there's someone that's uncomfortable with that, and if there is someone uncomfortable with that, then we certainly will make accommodations for them.
And that's understandable, yeah. 'Cause everybody has their situation.
There might be a person that's in quarantine just because they're a contact and they're
Quite
not
possible.
feeling ill, but they want to participate but can't come out, so we're gonna make sure that everybody's accommodated. Also, there is a tentative meeting with the warden at Hazelton, which will be done remotely. I sent you a place to
I responded to her, yeah.
put it in your calendar. It's very important that you start looking for an invitation from their side. They don't use the same platform as we use, so they will actually be sending you an email to invite you in. That is coming up pretty fast. I think that's Monday, so let's start looking for those. I'll reach out to
I had
them.
it, it's Tuesday at 1.
That's probably correct. Tuesday, I'm sorry, it was your meeting day. I was
Yeah,
getting screwed up.
Monday's a holiday for them, so they probably wouldn't be there.
Well, I get screwed up on Monday and Tuesday anyhow, so.
That's fine.
Anyway, be looking for that email, and I will reach out to the warden's office today to kind of get a heads up of when they might be sending that invitation. The parties that will be on the call include you all, the sheriff, OEM 911, Dr. Conley, DJ. And this is just kind of an introduction. We're going to keep this call 1 hour. So if you do have things that you already know you would like to discuss, If there's something that they might need to prepare on their side, if you'll get that to me as fast as we can keep that meeting moving. And everybody's very anxious to meet the new warden and work with his staff. Also on their end, I believe that I asked for their medical director to be there as well. Any questions on any of that?
Okay.
Minutes for December 8th, will be emailed to us. I think we already have that, actually. Anybody have anything else they'd like to discuss? Mr. Stone? I
Yes,
mean, you probably do.
I do.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, by encouragement of Commissioner Price, the commission put a letter together and sent to, Commerce down in Charleston, and concerning the closure of Milan Pharmaceuticals in Mon County. We have a lot of employees that travel that are Preston County residents that work there, and not only back in 18 when they did a huge layoff of employees were we affected, but again, with the closure, it's affecting even more people. So we did put that letter together, and the Cabinet Secretary for Commerce, Ed Gaunch, called yesterday to office and then touched base with me concerning this, and he gave some good information to me. He first and foremost wanted to acknowledge that we have a concern. And according to Ed, they have been working on this for some time. A lot of the employees at Milan, this was not a shock. It was something that they knew was coming down the pipe eventually. But Mr. Gaunch did give some information telling us that this is something that they've been working on. They've had some interest from other pharmaceutical companies in that real estate, and they are looking at that, and people that would even potentially look to employ some of those employees down there in that facility. So they are working on it. It's been on their radar, and that is part of Commerce, their responsibilities. Another thing that I had mentioned to him in our conversation yesterday was, I really feel like with the closure of the industry that we've had in Preston County over the last 20 years, we lost Albright Power Station, we've lost the bronze plant, just a lot of large employers that we really needed some additional help here. And I believe that it falls responsibility to Commerce as they take in development and tourism and a lot of things. We know that a lot of the things that have closed here was just really detrimental to, we used to be a county that boomed because of coal. There was a lot of things. And so all of this kind of filters into Commerce. And so I asked him to speak with Governor Justice and Bird White and some other folks concerning the plans that have been shuffled and put away in a drawer to get a corridor or something across our county to make us more accessible. We really can't hold our Economic Development Authority to the fire too much. Whenever she finds a company and is trying to bring them here, their number one complaint is the accessibility, the roads, the infrastructure. So all of that kind of, I believe, filters back. So Mr. Gaunch did give me some hope that he is going to bring this to the attention, and it's something that we can potentially look at stirring. I think that it is a meeting that needs to include our Economic Development Authority, because she's the one that truly is getting the door shut in her face because of our accessibility. And that's not something that we can control, but we've got to go after it. So those people in Charleston are the ones that hold on to those purse strings with the road bonds that we passed for new development, new things like that. So we really, yes, we really need to be looking in that direction because all of those things fuel tourism. We need to take a town that once thrived on coal and other, things like that, and we need to start utilizing the other resources that we have, such as the river and the trail system from the rail cars, and really focus on driving our economy in a different direction. They all work together, Chelsea, Ruby with tourism. I think if we start, this year, and it's something that people have worked on before, but I think we really need to start putting that one foot in front of the other and setting the goal, setting the line of what we need to have happen, put that plan together so that we can start checking little milestones and little accomplishments off so that we can get to the end game here. I don't know that, it's gonna happen in a year or two. Projects like anything take time, but it's something that from the conversation I had with Ed Gomch yesterday, I think it's time. It's time that we start having those conversations and start requesting and requiring that our county and surrounding counties get what we deserve. So that's it.
The road access has repeatedly for years and years been one of the holdbacks, to this. I mean, as long as I can remember. Well, if we could get to the county with the trucks or whatever, we would be okay, but you can get to the northern.
I think we've kind of exhausted some of the options we have here on our local level. And so we need the big dogs to come to the fight. We truly need that backing and some promise so that we can continue to move forward with those things. We can't fund different systems here for traveling, and Robbie's constantly assisting with grants for infrastructure on the internet and different things. So little bit by little bit, we are getting up to where these people can't tell us no, that this is an attractive, it's a very attractive place to want to have a business. And let's just face it, I mean, why not Preston County? Why not plant something here to give jobs, to give hope, to get back to, where we're thriving?
When, in the time that I've spent with the economic development, but, prior, you could look and I think that the access comes up repeatedly, and if we were to focus on what we need, I mean, we can always go after a meeting with companies and this and that and develop a piece of property and do this, but it needs to get bigger than that. And maybe our message the last few years has been fix our roads. Maybe the message needs to be, let's make a road. And we have that message when we go to Charleston and we do this. So I believe that is exactly right. I'm glad you had that conversation with them about that, brought it around to something else. So there's no question that the road thing and access is huge. And I think that we need to focus on one thing instead of trying to be everything. We're not big enough to focus on 10 things, I don't think. But
If I could, since you're talking about roads.
you always can.
I'm sorry?
No.
I think that the legislative session is coming up very quickly.
That's what I mean.
I think we're going to have a meeting with the DOH. I think we need to put that on the fast track.
Yes.
I know you still have your concerns, and we really haven't addressed those in any way. So we have this law in January, which we traditionally don't have because the inauguration, they
Right.
wait until the governor's sworn in. Most of your meetings are in February, March. So I'd like to move forward with getting a hold of Mr. Cronin and setting up something. If it has to be by Zoom, that's fine.
It
But I
probably
think
will
the
happen.
24 roads needs to be addressed. And I also think that we want to know about what has happened in the spring and what we, last spring and fall and summer, and what we can look forward to this spring, fall, and summer. So with your permission, I'd like to move forward with that and get that on the
I
schedule.
want to.
I especially before the legislative session, so that when you can be prepared to go down there. One other item on economic development, which is, roads is a piece, but also we lack other infrastructure, and it's just not broadband.
Right.
We need to, we do have, the interstate coming through, however, there lacks infrastructure, sewer, water, the things that would attract development. And, I think that the more you're engaged and the more you understand that process, which is complicated, it's just not, hey, I want to come here, we'll come ahead. It's, to be able to get the development money, to do those kind of things. So, I think that's important. I think our first step, with your permission, is to set up this DOH. We've waited and now I think it's time.
Good. I mean, all of us are in agreement.
Okay.
Just go ahead and get it set up.
Okay,
and,
I will try my
That's
best
where
to
we
be
were.
on a meeting date, however, that may not work for them. So I usually ask them for a couple of dates.
that's-
We will do it like we did it previously. If you all want to go to one location, that's fine, and we can make sure. I just, if you will send me an email this afternoon or at your earliest convenience of who you want at the table. I know Mr. Cronin is our direct contact with the DOH in District 4. But if we're talking about bridges or anything like that, you just need to give me a feedback of who all you want at the meeting. Okay?
I guess one other thing, we're talking about the potential Preston County has, but there are some things that need done. Getting the internet and the high speed out to more people, Prodigy has been really,
He said that he, with the grant that he's got, he can have, it's gonna be a couple years, but he will have the whole county wired within 5 to 6 years.
And that is kudos to the Economic Development Board.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
have
Oh, my,
worked
yes.
extremely
Oh,
hard
my, yeah.
on that Connect
Yep.
America or
Yeah.
whatever the name of that is.
Yep.
And that is a great thing. Just think, local company for a local solution. Can't get better than that.
yeah, it doesn't get better than that.
That's right.
And I don't think that comes out. That is a huge story.
Oh, my, yeah.
But we're seeing already the results of this. Alpine Lake, the sale of homes in Alpine Lake where Prodigy is
Oh,
serving
it's,
is
where
huge,
before.
as well as out in
Oh,
the
yeah.
county. Now there are companies that have bought up properties and they're dividing them into lots, and people from where they have to live to work don't have to live there now. And they're ready to move out to the quieter, safer, more peaceful surroundings of Preston County, and they appreciate it. You know, I think they'll be good neighbors. But
Also, on
but it's
that same-
because of the internet service that is either here or coming. Biggest complaint, of course, they have is about roads. So,
Well, you could be hearing more about, as budget time is approaching, you always have folks come in and talk to you. I'm gonna reach out to Prodigy and just see if they'll come and give you an update. We will be having an IT meeting next month. We will go one this month, just to, we have a lot going on, but we'll be regrouping on that next month. And also, remember this, thanks to your IT team here, the business continues, even though we sometimes can't have our buildings open because of the pandemic, and we still are receiving lots of people's questions and also providing lots of services thanks to that online service that you have.
we had no idea something like COVID would come by. But boy, we were poised and positioned for that because of our IT people. So pretty wonderful stuff. Just, we don't talk about it, you know, enough.
You have anything else?
I hope not.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Oh, I do have one other
Go
thing
ahead.
real quick. This past Saturday was Law Enforcement Appreciation Day.
Yes, please.
And so we did put that out on our pages, but again, and I should have, said something to Sheriff Pritt while he was here. But But, we certainly do appreciate our law enforcement, not only here, but on, the municipal level, on the state level, across the country. It's important to back the blue as much
Yeah,
as
exactly.
it's very, very important.
Next Tuesday, I have the CUD meeting.
Yeah, we have it scheduled for
Okay, so
9:30,
remind
so-
everybody that our meeting will not start for a little late till.
9:30.
Till 9:30 because of that, just to make sure, whatever comes out of that, because at that time, there'll be a new board and everything, so I'll update everybody on what's going on with that, okay? So.
Well, a couple more maintenance things I need to share with you. The house is still standing unfortunately, but we hope in the next, if the weather will just cooperate with a little bit longer and it stays solid, we
I'll
hope to
say, it's
get.
actually been pretty
that
decent this week, so we'll see.
Right. Also, you've had some requests and I've been working with Euclid and Prodigy. There's a restructuring in the probation office. And they've asked for an additional phone line, and also Community Corrections has doubled their staff, so, which is a good thing, and we're working with them on that as well. The other, I'm happy to report that the heat in probation is repaired, working fine, and that was done in-house. So we were very fortunate to be able to get that done. I check with them regularly just to make sure that the heat is working in there. So that was one thing that I'm happy to report, that we were able to find a solution in-house.
Great. The other thing was I did participate last Friday. Friends of the Chief reached out to both Commissioner Swing and myself to do, they're doing, because of not being able to do town halls and everything, they want to do a video on educating the public about what their goals are as far as the removal of the dam at the old power plant in Albright, for safety concerns, things like that, and the economic, tying into what you were talking about earlier, the economic potential that it could be for opening up the river for continuous flow. I mean, it's like 160 plus miles, if you think about it, going from Randolph County all the way down to the Chief Lake. So that's just a huge selling point, for future reference for development of tourism industry all along that water trail there. So, but that went really well. So, and that is all I have. So, anybody else say anything to me, Albaz? All right. That being said, this meeting is adjourned.
You need you to sign this. This is,